Hey guys, it's TF Nut. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This is going to be of the brand new Hasbro Indiana Jones Adventure Series Build an Artifact Ark of the Covenant series Raiders of the Lost Ark version of Indiana Jones. Finally, after all these years, we have 6-inch Indiana Jones figures. I have always wanted to see the possibility of 6-inch Indiana Jones figures, I think even since the beginning of the Black Series line, because I thought to myself, if Star Wars can get 6-inch figures, who's to say Indiana Jones can't? Well, now with the new movie coming out, there's actual incentive for Hasbro to do such, and I'm just very happy we're getting figures either way. We have some different versions of Indy that should be coming out in the future. Some other characters in this wave are already out now, depending on certain retailers you went to. I actually found some at my local Target. I haven't bought all of them yet, just this figure right now, and I think they're making some stuff from Temple of Doom pretty soon. Anyway, just going ahead and taking a look at the packaging. Top half there says Indiana Jones in that nice text. Adventure Series might be a little bit bright, but you can see the, I think that's a pre-rendered image of the figure. That could be actual photography. It looks pre-rendered to me. You have a Harrison Ford on the right there. Build an Artifact. The box has this really cool design for the, like a map on there, and it integrates parts of, Raiders of the Lost Ark scenes in that movie. Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, plastic free packaging, warning, choking hazard, Hasbro, ages 4 and up. So when we look on this side here, you can see which figures are in the Ark of the Covenant series and which all pieces these figures come with. I cannot wait to build that. I just didn't want to buy all of them at once right now. On this side here, it does say Indiana Jones Adventure Series, an image of Harrison Ford right there. Some more images from the film there. You can see, they're not exactly from the film, but you know what I mean. Plastic-free packaging. We look on the back here. I think the back of the packaging is really well done. It says which version of this character this is. Build an Artifact there. The name of the character, again, that version. And then right here, you can see all the different accessories included. That is really sick, and also how tall it is on the back of the packaging. Some multilingual warnings right there, as well as the Disney and Hasbro logos. And I do want to show off the barcode in case you guys need that. You can pause and screenshot if you want. Let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging. Here's the figure out of the packaging, and I don't know if it's because I kind of tempered my expectations for this figure just in case I was going to be disappointed, but this is a really nice figure. I'm really happy with it. I think it's almost a perfect version of Indiana Jones in the 6-inch scale. A little bit of some things here and there I'm not a big fan of, but this is awesome. This figure comes with a ton of accessories, so let's go ahead and take a look at those accessories, then we'll take a closer look at the figure. So the thing with this line, at least this particular wave, I don't know if they'll keep doing it depending on, different movies, but it's the Build an Artifact line. They're building up the Ark of the Covenant with each figure you get. This is the top wing sculpted pieces for the Ark, and it looks like it's mostly painted in a gold. And then actually you can see how it's like the way that the gold looks different here compared to how it's painted. I feel like that's where you can tell what the paint is. The actual paint on here looks like mostly some slight base coats of gold on here. I think it looks really good, and the overall sculpting of these is really sick. I will eventually build this whole thing. We get lots of hands. The figure comes packaged with the gun holding hand as well as the idol holding hand. So this is the whip holding hand, looking really nice. The thumb sticking out. Pretty decent detail on the back of the hands, looking like pretty standard like veins and all that going on the back of the hands. Same thing with this gripped hand. This actually isn't really a gripping hand, it's more of a relaxed hand. I wish we had 2 relaxed hands, but this is actually meant more for tipping the hat, I guess, or holding the hat. This is still pretty cool. And then you can see how these interchange. These are actually on sockets, kind of like with some NECA figures, not all, but some of them have the sockets. So that's how they do that. And then we have fists. So we already have a ton of different accessories and alternate pieces for this figure compared to like what you would usually get with the Black Series line, which is just maybe like a weapon and that's it. Really no alternate hands for those figures. Marvel Legends, of course, but it's nice to see that they're giving some alternate pieces. I believe figures of different indies coming out soon will also be compatible with this one and vice versa. So we'll see about about that and how that goes. But the fists here, pretty basic, just mostly a skin tone molded plastic with a little bit of some gloss on the back of the hands. We also have the whip pieces. So with the whips, this is the tucked in version basically. It is mostly in this like brownish, like almost like reddish plastic. There's really no paint here, unfortunately, but the overall sculpting is rather nice. So lots of people have been having problems with how you're supposed to holster this. Essentially, this soft plastic piece on the belt, you should pin it like so, and it will, the idea is you pick a hole in there and it should be fine. But it's really, this plastic's really thick, and this hole is just really getting in the way from the sculpt of the actual waist. It's not working too well. So you might want to lift this out, heat this up a little bit, maybe open this hole just a tiny bit, maybe, not like carve or anything, but yeah, you'll want to work around with this if you want to try to hold it. And even then, I don't know if it's guaranteed, because this part of the plastic is a little bit stiff and a little bit large. We do have a gun holster here for the pistol. It's a revolver, of course. I don't know why I said that. It's just mostly this black sculpt. It's pretty thin, but I think it's pretty accurate how it's supposed to look. Really nice looking revolver here. This is rather small, so I don't know if it would fit too well with other Marvel Legends or anything like that. But the idea is to just shove it in there, and if you keep it in here for too long, it will start to warp a little bit, just because of how the holster is done, like bent a little bit. Also, this, I don't know if it's because I'm not pushing it all the way, but I was having problems with plugging that in. It's plugging in better now, but I was having problems plugging that in. Let's keep moving on. We have this undone version of the whip. It's no bendy wire, of course. I didn't really expect it to be, but it's cool that we do have an undone version. It's just a softer, more pliable plastic. Last but not least, the idol. Really glad they included this. This is a fantastic sculpt. I used to have the 3¾ inch figure. I think I still do. And that came with an idol. I don't know if I have it around, but I would love to compare both the idols in the future if I can. Either way, though, this is a really nice sculpt here. Man, look at that gold paint on there. This looks just like how it came out in the film. That is awesome. And even though it's not going to be the most secure grip, you will... Okay, great. It's the idea. It's just it's going to be resting in this hand with the thumb sticking out. You can see kind of, place it in there a little bit. It's not going to be the most secure grip, and I'm not doing a great job of it right now. But we do have a ton of stuff for this figure already. So first things first, I want to talk about with this likeness. First of all, I think it is really good. I think it's got really heavy glossy paint, but I have a side-by-side image of Harrison Ford from Raiders of the Lost Ark here, and I think the actual sculpt is here pretty well. I think some of the face printing is just a tiny bit off, mostly in the eyes, but it's undeniably Harrison Ford. It still looks really good, just not at 100%. So let's move this back in. Again, I think the gloss, it's kind of the Black Series effect where the face looks a little too glossy. I don't remember what the trick some people do with like a matte finish on some of these faces is to make it look less glossy, but it does look a little... It's not that bad in person, but on camera it's pretty bad. They did paint in the stubble though. That facial hair is looking rather nice. I think there's a little bit of sculpting in here, just a little bit. But everything else, like the lip color, the way that everything is sculpted, is really nice. I think the eyes are just a little messy, just a tiny bit. It sounds like I'm nitpicking just because I am, but we do have some brown paint going away a little bit on the on the back of the ear. It's more flesh colors coming through, but the rest here, what little paint there is in sculpt really for the hair, is pretty good. I do wish we had an alternate head here, just because I don't know if the Club Obi-Wan version, I think that head can fit on here, but that's just a more cleaner looking hair that's going to be on that, not as sweaty. So I don't know, maybe when we get the Temple of Doom version. Anyway, the fedora though, the hat looking really nice. It looks pretty faded on the rims, so it has a little bit of light brown paint on there. It looks like a little bit of what would be dry brushing, I guess, on top of the hair with some light brown, mostly a dark brown sculpt. These parts are a softer plastic. You can see that this is definitely sculpted in there, and then we have that little rim piece or whatever going around here that's a darker brown. Excuse me, throat's dry today. Backing out a little bit, my only other complaint with this figure is that I think the shoulders look kind of weird. I think they're really like drooping down a lot. I don't know if it's because of the actual jacket. We'll do a proper comparison in a second, but with how, this Bespin Han is done, the shoulders are a little bit more, I wouldn't say squared off, but they don't droop down as much. They don't angle downward as much as here, where these are just going like really down. So I don't really know what's going on there. It looks a little weird to me. I think he looks a little too skinny. He's not like the most buff dude in the world, but he's buff enough that I don't really know. I guess just the way that they have to compensate with this jacket, and then all this weird with this like narrow sculpting here, I guess kind of gets in the way. By the way, I haven't taken off the jacket yet. I'll do that in a second, but this is also an accessory, this bag here, which has a little bit of some paint, mostly like, I guess like almost like a teal, not tealish, but like drab green almost. And then we do have some buttons there, a little bit of a buckle there, and then mostly this brown strap molded on there. So we have some more of that brown dry brushing here, and that's really all that it comes to when it comes to paint. It's like sections of this whole jacket. It's just molded in the brown color, and then you have some stuff up here and then up there. I wish it was spread out a little bit more, kind of like how they did it on these upper arms, where there's some pretty decent like brushing going on there, and some light brown in those wrinkles. Also on the front there, you can see some of that, but it still looks good. I think the actual sculpt of the jacket and arms too, I think all of that looks really good with the wrinkles in there. Really sick. You can see the pockets, some of those details right there. And then this is what the gun holding hand looks like. So rather nice. Lots of accessories I already mentioned. It's good that you can interchange the hands, but this is how it looks. So you can't really use any other hands from different lines, neither Black Series nor Marvel Legends, just because they don't have this system here. But this is what the idle holding hand looks like, where the thumb is sticking out a little bit more. And yeah, that's pretty nice. Then we get down to these belts. What we have is one belt here sculpted in the actual waist with a light brown and then a silver buckle. Very basic how that's done. I did forget to mention how the shirt is done. It's like this beige, just his classic shirt with the pockets and some wrinkles going on in there. You can see the neck too. That's like a separate sculpted piece. We also have the holster. I already talked about this, but we do have mostly just this brown soft plastic going on here. I forgot to take the pistol out, but it's cool how it is actually functioning. And they didn't kit out and not give him a revolver. I'm glad they actually gave him a weapon. But this is a separate sculpted soft plastic belt with a gold buckle there. And it is affixed to this figure. I do believe it is actually, you might be able to take it off, but it's probably not going to be easy to put back on. I don't know if it's like glued on here at all. I'm not even going to attempt to move it around too much. So we look at the legs. It's the pretty classic brown pants going on here. Lots of wrinkles, pockets on the back here, which is kind of getting covered up by the bag. Nice wrinkles, but it's mostly just molded in this one color. There really isn't any paint going on, unfortunately. Pockets here and some seam lines. It seems like the seam starts here and then it just doesn't continue. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe that's how the pants are supposed to look. The way that the articulation is done, it makes the knees look a little blocky even without you bending them, because you have this huge sculpted piece covering that joint there. I think it just looks a little ugly. But the actual joints on the back here do have some sculpting. I think the joints up here did too. Yeah, they did too. And then you have lots of wrinkles. I think maybe even a little bit of dry brushing around here. And then you do have the shoes. These shoes look really nice with some nice laces and some dry brushing of like some dirt on them. So a pretty decent amount of paint apps. I feel like even more than some Black Series, honestly. That's what the bottom of the feet look like. There's not much going on there. So overall, I think the sculpting could be a little bit better in some areas, but it's still really good. I forgot to show off taking off the jacket, but it's pretty easy to take off. You do it in a standard way with some jackets where you just pop it off the shoulders. And then we have this separate bag piece here. Looks like the jacket caused some scuffing a little bit there, but it's really easy to take off. Now, articulation is where I think this figure suffers a little bit personally. It's not god-awful, though. It's on a ball-jointed head here. It mostly just goes all the way around. The up motion actually is not too bad. The down, I think, could be better. I think there is a separate joint in the actual neck going into the torso, but it's not very prominent. But swiveling, there's no problem there. Originally, it was hard for me to get these arms to stay down like all the way. It was at this position. These shoulders are really stiff. I think I've already stressed some of the plastic. I actually can't tell anymore, so that's nice. But if you maneuver a little bit, because we do have a butterfly joint here, maneuver it to push in a little bit and then go down, it can go down pretty nice. But these arms will not go all the way out. You will force the plastic, unfortunately. That's as far out as it really wants to go before forcing the plastic. Butterfly joint does work really nice, though, but we do have swivels at the arms that go all the way around. As you can see, it's starting to be a little bit hard to get down flush. We do have a single joint elbow that does bend over 90, and it does swivel here. The ball joint at the hands hinders articulation a little bit. It can move a tiny bit up and down, maybe in and out, and swiveling is fine, but you don't get a crazy range of motion, unfortunately, with the hands. And these hands want to pop out a little too easily for my liking. I know why we have just one ball joint here and no crunching. They didn't want to break up the sculpt, but it does look a little weird when you're moving it around. Still, you can swivel forward, back, side to side. Could be better. Legs, even with that holster getting away, goes all the way out there. Back, actually a little bit. Splits, not perfect, but decent enough. You do have upper leg swivel here. We do have a single joint knee that bends a little bit over 90 and swivels at the knee. A little redundant, kind of like what some Black Series do now. But we do have a swivel at the ankle, which is nice. That helps with rotating and keeping it balanced. It's really hard to move down, but you can move it down, and then moving up because of these cuffs of the pants is a little bit difficult. But we do have at least some ankle rockers. So the back of the box, I already talked about measurements. It's about 16 centimeters. That's pretty close to 6.5 inches. This figure is actually going to be a little bit taller than Black Series figures, I believe. As you can see right next to him on the left, that is the Bespin Han Solo. It's a little bit shorter than Indy. Interesting, because some of the same people working on the Black Series line are working on the Indiana Jones stuff too. Right next to him on the right, I saw this really cool image on Instagram. I can't pronounce the person's name right now, unfortunately. I'm going to mess it up. But they took a really great shot of Gung Ho from the Classified series with Indy, as if Gung Ho was the airplane mechanic, so I wanted to shout that out real quick. But Gung Ho himself is going to be pretty tall. Over on the far left, standard size Retro Collection Spidey Marvel Legends figure there. It's going to be a tiny bit taller than Indy, and then the first ever Black Series Mando is going to be a little bit shorter. Overall, I'm very impressed with this figure. It does have some flaws. I think that some of the proportions, mostly the shoulders drooping down a little too much, look a little weird. I think his torso is a little too skinny, but I think it's because of the jacket, so I'm not going to complain that much about it. I do think the articulation could be a little bit better, and I think just a little bit more paint apps in some areas would have been nice. But this is a $25 figure that comes with a lot of accessories just for the figure itself. We really don't get that with the Black Series line. And we also get parts for the Ark of the Covenant when it's time to build it, which is really cool too. I do think that the detail overall and sculpting is really nice, and you can get this into some pretty sick poses. It's a 6-inch Indiana Jones action figure. I was going to be super down no matter what. Just had some tempered expectations up until now, because I'm so glad I did that. I am very happy, and I'm really glad that this turned out as good, maybe a little bit better than I thought it was going to. I am going to be hopefully in it for a long haul with this line. They're not going to continue it forever, but I'll probably get some stuff when it drops it a little bit in price, unless there's something I absolutely need at the full price. We'll wait and see. Until then, thank you guys very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.